We need to talk about it. Burnout. According to a study by Deloitte, 77% of workers report that they feel burned out in their current roles. And when you look at the impact that this has on organizations worldwide, the cost is $300 billion in lost productivity annually. The causes of burnout could be anything from a toxic work environment to a workload that is just too much for people to handle. But then there's other things like microstressors. Let's talk about it and some real solutions to burnout rather than just having a meditation app and some work-life balance. No, we really need to look at what's causing burnout in your life, what's causing burnout in your team's lives, and how we can solve this. If you're new here, my name's Kathy. This is Motivation Code. Motivation Code is an assessment that helps you understand what motivates you. And your motivations are very different than anyone else's. This assessment is built on your stories. You spend about 30 minutes telling stories about times in your life where you found the greatest fulfillment. And Motivation Code gives you a report so you can better understand what motivates you going forward. Helps you make better decisions. It helps you know yourself, things that are incredibly important if you're going to solve things like burnout. But let's take a look. What are some of the things that can cause burnout? Well, I asked ChatGPT, give me a list, all of the things that have ever been reported about what causes burnout for workers at their jobs. And of course, this can be different in different industries, but it gave me the laundry list. It's on the blog post linked below, but some highlights include, excessive workload, lack of control, feeling lack of control, insufficient rewards or recognition, that work-life balance thing, unclear job expectations, poor communication, lack of social support, values mismatch between an organization and the employee. There are all sorts of things that can cause burnout. And burnout can happen not just because of the environment, but because of things called microstressors. I found this very interesting because this is happening to so many of us, and we don't realize that it can add up into burnout. Things like notifications on your phone, or even worse, notifications on your watch going off because someone is sending you a message, or even a spam message that distracts you from that state of flow when you're creative, and then you have to attend to someone demanding your attention right here, right now. All of those alerts that you're getting can add up as a microstressor. Conflict with family members, stresses at home, ongoing worries about finances, the cost of eggs. Have you seen the cost of eggs? Health concerns with yourself or a family member, the pressure of a perpetually full inbox, chronic sleep deprivation, which I know happens to so many people. Netflix has stated that their prime competitor is sleep. So there are so many more demands on our time, on our attention, our mental bandwidth, that many of us are feeling these microstressors. Microstressors add up. You know how it is. The kids are asking for something. Your spouse is asking for something. The dog needs to go outside. Oh no, my dog's just probably heard that and want to go outside. All of these things add up, and then all of a sudden the work demands and spam emails getting into your inbox, all of these things are demanding your time and your attention. They add up and they turn into stress. It's kind of like filling a bucket. If you leave a bucket under a dripping faucet, eventually it will fill, even though it's not being filled with a fire hose. You are still being stressed by these minor things, and those things have a cumulative effect, and they can stress you out. Now, if you're leading a team, there are various ways that you can tell if a team member is feeling burned out. Their performance is going to start suffering. They might be missing deadlines. Their work quality has been impacted. They might have difficulty making decisions or concentrating in meetings. There might be changes in attitudes. Maybe they have increased negativity or cynicism, lack of enthusiasm for activities that they used to enjoy. withdraw from team activities or communication. There might even be physical signs. You might see frequent illnesses. Increased stress in your life actually does contribute to illness. Visible fatigue or exhaustion, changes in appearance, even putting on weight, cortisol, the stress hormone, can actually cause people to start gaining weight, no matter what their diet is, just because of the biochemistry of it. Behavioral changes, increases in absenteeism. There's an entire list on the blog post. I'll have that linked below, but you'll know if your team members are starting to feel burnout, it starts with stress and it just gets worse. It causes all sorts of issues. To overcome the root causes of burnout, it's more than just having better work-life balance. It's not just having increased PTO. It's not just, downloading the latest meditation app and spending 10 minutes meditating and finding mindfulness. No, we need to the root causes of burnout. Now, when you are working a job and it is not fulfilling who you really are, that in itself is a stressor. Now, for me personally, if someone tells me, okay, you're going to be a project manager now, I've done that. I have experienced that. That was the cortisol job. That was the job where I was trying to do something that I actually valued. I saw the value of good project management, but it did not motivate me. In fact, it stressed me out even further because I was trying to be something that I wasn't. Being a project manager was the worst for me. Doing accounting was also something that was easy for me to do, but it was not something that was ticking all my motivational boxes. I am a visionary. That's my primary motivation. And so I like to think up big ideas and do big projects. And then I am an influencer. I like to drag all of my coworkers into a big project with me, and I'm an achiever. I like to make huge things happen, and I like the accolades that come along with that, as most achievers do. Knowing all of that about myself, after I took the motivation code, I was able to let go of the value that I attached to project management. Project management is, of course, important. And if I have a big vision, say an event that I am putting on, and that's very important, and I know there are a lot of details associated with it, I highly value what a project manager can contribute to making that event successful. I can do that kind of work, and I can do it very well if it is associated with my motivations being ticked. If I can have a project manager on my team that's doing all of that for me so I don't have to worry about all of the minute details, even better. But when I am just the project manager and I don't have those motivations of a visionary influencer, it just takes me out of my game and creates additional stress. So if we want to really address what's going on with burnout, we have to know our people. We have to know who they really are and get into their motivations. Because if you put someone in a role that does not suit who they are not authentically living by their own internal rules. When we get to know who our people are and we put them in roles that help them really come with their entire game, where they can authentically be themselves and show up, knocking it out of the park, then we know that our people are on their game. You see, when people are burned out, there is no motivation. And when people are incredibly motivated, they don't tend to get burned out because they're not feeling that stress. They're not feeling that stress of being something that they're not. They are authentically being themselves and bringing their entire game. They're bringing everything that they are to the role that they are playing in your organization. And when you have that, then you have intrinsic motivation. It's showing up. But if you don't know your people and you start putting visionaries in project management roles and they don't have any association with vision and they have to supply that from themselves without any support from the organization, you are going to find them burning out much faster. When you know who you really are, it is so much easier to set effective boundaries because you know who you are. And if your organization is using motivation code in order to help everyone understand each other, you can talk to your boss and say, hey, look, you've got me in this role over here, and in order to be more fulfilled, here's what I need. I know myself, and you've got my report and you know me, and you can come to some agreements so that you are in a position doing what you are good at, doing things that really bring your A game to the table. And if you are a leader, don't you want the A game? It's so much easier when people are intrinsically motivated and offering to bring their A game rather than trying to find a way to encourage them or even manipulate them into doing something that is antithetical to who they really are. Understanding your people is so critically important because that intrinsic motivation, it comes from within. We are programmed to be a certain way. All of those experiences, those stories that you bring to Motivation Code when you are doing the assessment, that's you. That's who you are. You've already had those experiences. You know what has made you feel fulfilled in the past. And when you put all those stories into writing and the assessment comes back and tells you, hey, look, this means that these are the things, they're right there in your stories. It's really all about you. It's not an either or type of, I like coffee, I like tea. No, these are your stories. And your stories are going to be the guide that helps you create a better life. It's really important also to do an audit on your life. Where are the interruptions? Where are the things that are taking your attention away from the things that fulfill you so that you have to go deal with things that are not fulfilling to you? I mean, we all have some things. We all have to do some level of accounting, even if that isn't our forte. There are always going to be little things that are demanding our attention. But if we can minimize them or set boundaries around them of like, okay, I will take all of my financial alerts on Friday mornings at 9 a.m. and for the rest of the week, I am not going to interrupt myself from these microstressors. So doing an audit of all of the things that take your attention away from the things that you love and your A game is going to minimize the stress, lower the cortisol, and help you feel a lot better. It's really important to align your activities with those motivations. So once you know who you really are, then you can say, this is the stuff that I'm good at, and this is where I feel good. This is where I feel motivated, I feel fulfilled, and my days just kind of fly by because I'm in my zone. Setting those boundaries around your life are exceptionally helpful. Now, of course, we have plenty of recruitment ads up on LinkedIn telling you get a free mindfulness app on your phone so you can meditate, so you can deal with all of the stress. And meditation is awesome. I meditate twice every day. In the morning when I get up and right before bed, that's the time to really get centered and think about who I am, what I want, and to let everything else go. All distractions go away, and I really set some boundary for that mindfulness time. But mindfulness isn't just about setting the external world apart. Really, what we need to do is to take mindfulness and inject it into every experience that we have. And here's how you do that. You take mindfulness of who you really are so that when you are in a situation that maybe is stressful, you remember who you really are. You remember what your zone is, and you bring that to the table rather than getting pulled off base, pulled out of your zone and into an expectation that isn't you. You're more able to set those boundaries and bring your full self into an experience. Mindfulness is not something that necessarily only happens wherever you find your time to meditate, which is great if you do. And if you don't, still find some mindfulness in every moment, in every interaction. If you're on a Zoom call with a colleague, pay full attention and be mindful of who they are and their motivations, as well as who you are and yours, and being mindful about what is being brought to the table rather than distracted by the 70,000 other things that are demanding your attention. Mindfulness is being present in the moment, because when you are present in the moment, you show up authentically as yourself rather than something that is trying to be perfect for whatever is demanding attention of you. Now, if you are feeling burnout, these are some tips that can possibly help you, but it's really important that you have someone that you can talk to about what you're feeling and help you understand what exactly is stressing you out about a particular interaction, a particular job duty, any of that, or stuff at home. Because when you really look at it, it's not necessarily the external event that is stressing you out. It's the story you're telling yourself in your head that is causing the stress. I'll give you an example. I have to deal with my husband who had a stroke on a daily basis. I am the primary caregiver for him. And there are certain things that are incredibly stressful that I have to deal with, and I just have to soldier through those particular events. I will spare you the gory details. I just have to be present with it. Sometimes I will make up a song about what's going on. I will crack jokes about it, and I will try to go into every stressful event using comedy as my lever, because it's a hard situation being a caregiver. If you're in healthcare, you're going into situations where everybody is under duress. You're having situations where family members are dealing with their loved ones' health situation. They're under stress. The patient is under stress. There is so much stress happening, and you as a caregiver have to go into that situation fully present. You need to be able to hear what they're really saying, and you can't tell yourself a story about what's going on. Otherwise, you're just going to create further stress in yourself. So being present, being mindful, and then having someone that you can talk to about whatever it is that you're experiencing. The great thing about Motivation Code and the report that you receive is that you can give this to your therapist, to your coach, your counselor, whoever it is that you're talking to about the burnout that you're experiencing. And it can be a guide. It can not only help you, but it can help your therapist. Like, you're describing a stressful situation, and they can understand, well, this is because you are a relator as one of your primary dimensions, and you're not able to relate in this situation because of this. How can we take this blocker out of your life so that you can really fully actualize who you are? Therapists are a great sort of impartial third party that can look at a situation in your life and advise you on what's going on so that you can find greater fulfillment. If you are hoping to solve burnout in your life, because burnout can come from anywhere. And Motivation Code isn't going to be the magic wand that solves it all, but it's one of those tools that gives you the information you need. Because what you're doing when you're solving burnout is you are becoming self-governing. You are becoming a leader of yourself. You are pulling out all of the blockers that are stopping you from being who you truly are. And isn't that what we're here to do? I mean, we only have 52 weekends a year. That's not enough to recover from burnout. So instead of thinking, oh, well, we just need to take more PTO or we need better work-life balance, how about let's just make every day a little more authentically you? Because if you can make every day more authentically you, it's not going to take energy away from you. It's not going to drain you so that at the end of the day you need a nap. Instead, if you are authentically you in every situation, energy is just given back to you. It becomes like a feedback loop, because what you're doing is bringing your entire self to a situation, and that gets compounded back to you as energy, as gifts, as feedback that tells you you're on the right path of being you. I think burnout is really a symptom of us being off of our path. We came here for a reason to do something, and sometimes we just need a map. Hopefully Motivation Code can be that for you. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up. Follow us if you'd like more content like this. And if you've ever dealt with burnout, leave us some comments down below. Let us know what's helped for you. You might help someone else in the process. Thanks for watching.